Listen, I'm not here to waste your time with sweet words or promises of a fairy tale life. I'm not that guy. I'm not standing here to paint a picture of candlelit dinners or lazy Sundays by the beach. If that's what you're after, you're in the wrong place, and you might want to walk away now. But if you're still here, if something inside you is stirring, restless, hungry for something bigger than yourself, then stay with me, because this is for you, the woman who will stand by my side, not as a shadow, not as a follower, but as a force, a partner, someone willing to step into the fire of chaos with me and build something that will echo through history. This is my message to you, my future wife, the one who's out there somewhere listening, wondering if you're ready for a life that doesn't play by the rules. Let me ask you something right now, and I want you to feel this question in your bones. Are you ready to walk a path where every step feels like it could be the last, where the stakes are so high they make your heart pound, but the rewards could change the course of humanity? Are you ready to bet everything, your comfort, your safety, your sanity on a vision so big it scares the hell out of you? Because that's what it means to be with me. That's what it means to share this life. Um, I'm not looking for someone who wants a soft landing. I'm looking for someone who's willing to crash through the atmosphere with me, knowing we might burn up, but also knowing we might touch the stars. I've never lived a life of certainty, never will. When I started SpaceX, I wasn't sitting in some cushy office with a spreadsheet telling me it'd work. I was staring at a 90% chance of failure, pouring every dollar I had into rockets that could have exploded and did 3 times in a row. I remember standing there, watching millions of dollars vaporize in a fireball over the Pacific, hearing the critics laugh, saying I was a Silicon Valley clown who didn't understand aerospace. They said NASA couldn't do it, so what made me think I could? But here's the thing. I didn't care about their laughter. I cared about the mission. I cared about making humanity multiplanetary, about giving us a shot to survive beyond this fragile blue dot we call Earth. And you know what? That fourth launch, the one we scraped together with the last of our money, it worked. It didn't just save SpaceX, it changed the game. It proved the impossible was possible. But it took everything, every ounce of grit, every sleepless night, every shred of doubt I had to shove into the back seat. That's the life I'm offering you. Not a mansion, not a yacht, not a promise of endless vacations. I'm offering you a front row seat to a fight for something bigger than us, bigger than love, bigger than anything most people dare to dream. I need you to understand this from the start. Being with me means signing up for a mission. It means waking up every day knowing we're not just building a life together, we're building a legacy. And legacies aren't built on comfort, they're built on sacrifice, on obsession, on the kind of relentless drive that makes the world stop and stare. You might be wondering, why am I talking to you like this? Why am I laying it all bare before we've even met? Because I don't want you to walk into this blind. I want you to know exactly what you're signing up for. I want you to feel the weight of it, the fire of it, the sheer insanity of it. Most people spend their lives dodging risk, chasing safety, waiting for someone to hand them a guarantee. But guarantees don't exist. Comfort is a trap. It's a slow poison that lulls you into a life of mediocrity where you wake up one day and realize you've been sleepwalking through your own potential. I'm not that person, and I don't want you to be either. I want you to be the woman who looks at the unknown and says, bring it on. I want you to be the one who hears the world's doubts and laughs, not because you're fearless, but because, fear is just a signal that you're onto something worth fighting for. Let me tell you about a moment that shaped me so you understand what I mean. Back in 2008, Tesla was on the brink of collapse. We were bleeding cash, production was a mess, and I was sleeping on the factory floor, covered in grease, trying to figure out how to keep the dream alive. I wasn't sleeping in a bed, I was under my desk, with my team, working 20-hour days to fix problems that seemed impossible. The world was calling me crazy, saying electric cars were a pipe dream, that I was throwing my life away. And you know what? They weren't entirely wrong. It was crazy. It was reckless, but it was worth it because every time I thought about giving up, I remembered why I started to change the world, to prove that we could build a future that didn't choke on fossil fuels. That's what kept me going, not motivation, not some burst of inspiration, but a deep, burning obsession to make it real, no matter the cost. I'm telling you this because I want you to know the kind of man I am. I'm not here to offer you a life of ease. I'm here to offer you a life of meaning. And meaning comes at a price. It costs sleepless nights. It costs moments of doubt so heavy they feel like they'll crush you. It costs relationships, comfort, and sometimes even sanity. But here's the flip side. The cost of not chasing that meaning is so much worse. The cost of regret is a weight no one can carry. I'd rather burn out chasing something impossible than live a life wondering what could have been. And I want you to feel the same way, not just about me, but about yourself, about what you're capable of, about the mark you can leave on the universe. So, who are you out there listening? Are you the woman who feels that restless hunger, that voice inside whispering that you were made for more? Are you the one who's been told to play it safe, to settle, to shrink your dreams so they fit into someone else's box? Because I'm not interested in that version of you. I'm interested in the version of you that's awake, alive, ready to risk, looking like a fool for something you believe in. I'm looking for the woman who's not afraid to stand in the middle of chaos and say, "This is where I belong," because that's where I live on the edge, where the stakes are high, where the world tells you to stop, but you keep going anyway. You might be thinking, Elon, this sounds intense. Why would I sign up for this? And I get it. It's not for everyone. Most people want a life that's predictable, safe, comfortable, but you're not most people. If you were, you wouldn't still be listening. You'd have tuned out the second I started talking about sacrifice and failure, but you're still here. And that tells me something. It tells me there's a fire in you, a spark that refuses to die, a vision that keeps you up at night. Maybe it's not about rockets or electric cars. Maybe it's about creating something beautiful, something meaningful, something that changes lives in a way only you can. Whatever it is, I want to be the man who stands beside you while you chase it, just as I want you to stand beside me while I chase mine. Here's the truth. Love to me isn't about flowers and promises. It's about two people who are willing to bleed for a shared vision. It's about finding someone who sees the same future you do, even when it's blurry, even when it's terrifying. When I think about you, my future wife, I don't picture someone who's waiting for me to save her or make her life easy. I picture someone who's already fighting her own battles, someone who's not afraid to get her hands dirty, someone who's ready to build something extraordinary with me. Because that's what this life is about, building, and not just a home or a family, but a legacy that outlives us, that changes the trajectory of the future. Let me be clear. I'm not perfect. Um, I'm not easy to live with. I'm obsessive, relentless, sometimes impossible. I'll spend nights sketching designs on napkins, arguing with engineers at 3 a.m., or staring at numbers that don't add up, trying to will them into submission. I'll forget to eat, forget to sleep, forget to slow down. But I promise you this, if you're with me, if you're all in, I'll give you everything I have. I'll fight for our shared dreams with the same intensity I bring to SpaceX or Tesla. I'll stand by you when the world doubts you, when you doubt yourself, when everything feels like it's falling apart. Because that's what partners do. They don't just hold hands, they hold the line together no matter what. I want you to imagine something right now. Imagine us, years from now, standing on a launch pad, watching a rocket pierce the sky, knowing we played a part in making it happen. Or maybe it's not a rocket, maybe it's a company you built, a movement you started, a dream you refused to let die. Imagine looking back and knowing that every tear, every fight, every sleepless night was worth it because we didn't just live, we shaped the future. That's the life I want us to have. Not a life of comfort, but a life of impact. Not a life of safety, but a life of courage. So here's my challenge to you right now, wherever you are. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect me. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The perfect plan falls apart the second it meets reality. And me, I'm a work in progress, just like you. But I know one thing. I'm looking for someone who's ready to jump into the unknown with me, someone who's not afraid to fail, someone who's willing to pay the price for greatness, because greatness isn't a gift, it's a choice. And I want you to choose it, not just for me, not just for us, but for the woman you're meant to become. This is just the beginning. This is the whisper from the future calling you to step up, to be more, to risk everything for a life that matters. Are you ready to answer that call? Because I'm here waiting for you not to save you, but to fight alongside you. Let's build something the world will never forget. All right, you're still here. That means something. It means you're not scared off by the idea of a life that's more battlefield than fairy tale. Good. Because now we're going to dig deeper and I'm going to lay it out straight. The journey we're talking about, the one I want us to take together, isn't paved with rose petals. It's forged in fire, built on sacrifice, and carved out of moments so raw and real they'll make you question everything you thought you knew about yourself. This is the truth about what it means to stand by my side, to be the woman who shares my life, my mission, my madness. It's not glamorous, it's not easy, but it's worth it, and I need you to understand why. Let's get one thing clear. If you're expecting a life with me to be a smooth ride, a cozy bubble where everything falls into place, you're signing up for the wrong story. I don't live in that world, and I don't want to. My world is one where every day feels like a high stakes gamble, where the odds are stacked against us, and the only way forward is through sheer, unrelenting will. I've been through moments that would break most people, moments where everything I'd built was hanging by a thread, where the world was screaming that I'd fail, and where I had to look myself in the mirror and decide if I had the guts to keep going. I want you to know what that feels like, because if you're with me, you'll feel it too. Picture this. It's 2008, and SpaceX is on its knees. 3 rocket launches, 3 failures, billions of dollars gone in plumes of smoke. My team is exhausted, investors are walking away, and the press is having a field day, calling me a fool who thought he could outsmart aerospace giants. I'm not sleeping, not eating, just staring at the wreckage of my dreams, knowing I've got one shot left, one final launch, with every penny I have, every hope I've carried, every shred of belief I've got left. If it fails, it's not just SpaceX that's done. Tesla's on the ropes too, and everything I've poured my soul into is about to collapse. That's not a motivational poster. That's not a tweet you scroll past. That's the kind of moment that strips you down to your core and asks, who are you when it all goes wrong? I'm telling you this not to scare you, but to prepare you. Because being with me means you'll face moments like that, moments where the world feels like it's crumbling, where doubt creeps in, where you wonder if you're strong enough to keep going. But here's the secret. Those moments are where you find out what you're made of. They're where you discover the steel inside you, the fire that doesn't go out. And I want a woman who can stand in that fire with me, not because it's romantic, but because it's real. Because it's in those moments that we'll forge something unbreakable, not just a relationship, but a partnership that can withstand anything. You might be thinking, why would I choose that? Why would I sign up for a life that sounds like a constant battle? Because the alternative is worse. The alternative is a life of complacency, where you let comfort dictate your choices, where you settle for a version of yourself that's smaller than you were meant to be. I've seen what happens to people who choose the easy path. They wake up one day, years down the line, with a nagging ache in their chest, wondering where their spark went, wondering why they feel so hollow, despite having everything society told them to chase. That's not the life I want for you, and it's not the life I want for us. I want us to live in a way that makes the universe take notice. I want us to build something so bold, so audacious, that it forces the world to rethink what's possible. Maybe it's a company that changes an industry, a project that redefines how people live, or a dream that pushes humanity closer to the stars. Whatever it is, it's going to demand everything from us: our time, our energy, our sanity. It's going to mean long nights, hard fights, and moments where we're both exhausted, covered in the metaphorical grease and sweat of chasing something bigger than ourselves. But those are the moments that will define us. Those are the moments that will make us more than just two people. They'll make us a force. Let me tell you about another moment, one that's not about rockets or companies, but about the kind of choice I'm asking you to make. Years ago, when I was still figuring out what it meant to chase a vision, I had to decide whether to keep playing it safe or go all in. I'd already sold my first company, made enough money to live comfortably for the rest of my life. Most people would have stopped there, bought a nice house, settled down, but I couldn't. There was this fire in me, this restlessness that wouldn't let me sit still. I took every dollar I had and poured it into SpaceX, Tesla, Solar City ideas, everyone called insane. I wasn't just risking money, I was risking everything: my reputation, my relationships, my peace of mind. And there were nights when I wondered if I'd made the biggest mistake of my life, when I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of it all. But here's what I learned: the weight is the point, the struggle is the crucible that shapes you. Without it, you're just coasting, letting life happen to you instead of making it happen. I want you to feel that weight too, not because I want you to suffer, but because I know it's the only way to become the woman you're meant to be. I want you to be my partner in that struggle, someone who's not afraid to get her hands dirty, to dive into the chaos with me, and come out stronger on the other side. Because when we're standing there, battered but unbroken, we'll know we didn't just survive, we thrived. This isn't about me dragging you into my world. It's about us building a world together. I don't want you to follow me. I want you to walk beside me with your own dreams, your own fire, your own relentless drive. Maybe you're out there right now working on something the world doesn't understand yet, a business, an idea, a passion that keeps you up at night. Maybe you're facing your own doubters, your own failures, your own moments of wondering if it's all worth it. Let me tell you something, it is. Every second you spend fighting for what you believe in is a second you're stealing from mediocrity. And I want to be the man who cheers you on, who pushes you to keep going, who stands by you when the world tells you to quit. Here's what I know about you, even before we've met. You're not ordinary. You're not the kind of woman who's satisfied with a life that's just fine. You've got something inside you, a spark, a hunger, a vision that refuses to let you settle. That's why you're listening to this, why you're drawn to this message. It's not an accident. It's your soul recognizing a call to something bigger. And I'm here to tell you that I see that spark. I see that hunger. And I want to be the one who helps you turn it into a blaze that lights up the world. But let's be real. This life, this journey, it's going to test us. It's going to throw everything it has at us: failure, criticism, exhaustion, doubt. There'll be days when we're both running on fumes, when we're arguing over some impossible problem at 2 a.m., when we're wondering if we've bitten off more than we can chew. Those are the days that will make us, those are the days when we'll look at each other and know we're not just in love, we're in this together, fighting for something that matters. And when we come through those days, we'll be stronger, sharper, more alive than ever. So, what's it going to take? It's going to take courage, not the kind that makes you fearless, but the kind that makes you act even when you're terrified. It's going to take discipline, not the kind that feels like punishment, but the kind that feels like freedom because it lets you trust yourself to do what's hard. And it's going to take a shared obsession, a commitment to a vision so big it scares us both, but also pulls us forward like gravity. That's what I want for us. Um, a life where we're not just surviving, but creating, where we're not just dreaming, but doing. I'm not promising you an easy road. I'm promising you a road worth walking. I'm promising you a partner who will never ask you to shrink, who will never ask you to be less than you are, who will push you to be more than you ever thought possible. Because that's what you deserve. Not a life of comfort, but a life of impact. Not a life of safety, but a life of meaning. So, are you ready to step into that fire with me? Are you ready to face the chaos, the doubt, the impossible, and come out the other side as someone the world will never forget? Because I am, and I'm waiting for you. All right, you're still with me. And that's no small thing. It tells me you're not just listening, you're feeling this deep in your core. You're not here for platitudes or promises of a picture perfect life. You're here because you know there's something bigger, something worth burning for. And now I want to talk about what love means in this wild, relentless journey we're on. Not the kind of love you see in movies or read about in novels, but the kind of love that can withstand the chaos of a life like mine. The kind of love that's not just a feeling, but a force, an obsession that binds us to a shared mission, a shared fire, a shared defiance of everything that says we can't. This is for you, the woman who will be my partner, my equal, my co-conspirator in changing the world. Let's talk about what it means to love in a way that reshapes the future. Love to me isn't about candlelit dinners or stolen glances across a room. Those moments are nice, sure, but they're fleeting, like sparks that vanish in the wind. Real love, the kind I'm looking for, is something fiercer, something that doesn't just survive the storm, it thrives in it. It's two people standing shoulder to shoulder, staring down impossible odds and saying, "We're doing this anyway." It's not about comfort or ease. It's about finding someone who's as obsessed as I am, not just with me, but with a vision so big it consumes us both. I want you to be obsessed not with the idea of us as a couple, but with the idea of us as a team, building something that leaves a dent in the universe. Let me paint you a picture, not of a fairy tale, but of reality. When I was pouring everything into Neuralink, trying to figure out how to connect the human brain to machines, I wasn't thinking about balance or weekends off. I was sketching ideas at 3 a.m., arguing with scientists, wrestling with questions no one had answers to. The world called it crazy, connecting brains to computers. They said it was science fiction, a pipe dream, another one of Musk's wild ideas. But I saw something else, a future where we could unlock the full potential of the human mind, where we could solve problems like Alzheimer's or give people back abilities they'd lost. That's the kind of obsession that drives me, and it's the kind of obsession I want you to bring to our life together. I don't want you to just love me. I want you to love what we can create together. Maybe your obsession isn't rockets or neural interfaces. Maybe it's art that changes how people see the world, or a business that lifts communities, or a cause that rewrites the rules of what's possible. Whatever it is, I want it to burn inside you, the way my dreams burn inside me. I want us to be two flames feeding off each other, not dimming each other's light, but making the blaze brighter. Because when two people are obsessed with a shared vision, love becomes something more than romance. It becomes a partnership that can move mountains. Let me tell you about a time when obsession saved me. Back when Tesla was fighting to survive, we were burning through cash faster than we could raise it. I was living on borrowed time, maxing out credit cards, selling off whatever I could to keep the company alive. Everyone, investors, analysts, even some of my own team, thought we were done. They said electric cars were a niche, a fad, that we'd never compete with the big automakers. I remember one night sitting in a cold factory, staring at a half-built Model S, wondering if I was about to lose everything. My heart was racing, my head was spinning, but there was this voice inside me, this obsession, that wouldn't let me quit. It wasn't about money or fame, it was about proving that we could build a better future, one where the world didn't choke on gas fumes. That obsession pulled me through, and it's what turned Tesla into what it is today. I'm sharing this because I want you to know what I mean by obsession. It's not about being reckless or irrational. It's about having a fire in your chest that keeps you moving forward, even when every logical reason says you should stop. And I want you to have that fire too. I want you to be the woman who wakes up at dawn, driven by a purpose so strong it drowns out the noise of doubt. I want you to be the one who looks at a problem the world calls impossible and says, not on my watch. Because that's the kind of love we're building. Not one that's content to sit still, but one that's always pushing, always creating, always reaching for something more. This kind of love isn't easy. It's not going to be long walks on the beach or lazy mornings in bed. It's going to be late nights solving problems together, heated debates about ideas, moments of frustration when we don't see eye to eye. But it's also going to be moments of pure electric clarity when we look at what we've built and know it was worth every fight, every tear, every second of doubt. I want us to be the kind of couple who doesn't just dream big, but makes those dreams real, who doesn't just talk about changing the world, but actually does it. You might be wondering, what does this mean for me? What does it mean to love someone like you, Elon? It means you're signing up for a life where we challenge each other, where we push each other to be better, to be bolder, to be unstoppable. It means you're not just my partner in love, but my partner in creation. I don't want you to be a bystander in my mission. I want you to have your own mission, one that's just as fierce, just as relentless. Maybe you're out there right now working on something that keeps you up at night, something the world doesn't understand yet. Maybe you're fighting your own battles, facing your own skeptics, wondering if you're crazy for believing in your vision. I see you. I know that feeling. And I want to be the one who stands by you, who believes in you when no one else does, who fights with you to make your dreams real. Here's what I promise you. I'll never ask you to dim your light. I'll never ask you to be less than you are. If you're with me, I want you to shine so brightly that the world can't look away. I want you to chase your obsession with the same intensity I chase mine. And I want us to build something together that's bigger than either of us. Maybe it's a company, a movement, a legacy that changes lives for generations. Maybe it's something no one's even imagined yet. Whatever it is, I want us to be the kind of couple who doesn't just live history, but writes it. But let's be real, this kind of love comes with a cost. It's going to mean giving up the easy path, the comfortable life, the safety of routine. It's going to mean standing up to the world when it tells you your dreams are too big, your ideas are too wild, your ambitions are too much. It's going to mean moments of loneliness, moments when you feel like no one else gets it. But you won't be alone because I'll be there right beside you, carrying the same weight, fighting the same fight, and together we'll be unstoppable. I want you to imagine us years from now looking back on a life we built together, not a life of quiet moments or predictable days, but a life of battles won, of dreams made real, of a world that's different because we refuse to settle. I want us to be the kind of couple who doesn't just love each other, but inspires each other, who doesn't just hold hands, but holds the line against every obstacle. That's the love. I'm talking about a love that's not just about us, but about what we can do for the world. So here's my question to you. What's your obsession? What's the thing that keeps you up at night? The thing you can't let go of, the thing you'd risk everything for? Because that's what I want to know about you. That's what I want to build with you. I don't want a love that's safe or small. I want a love that's as big as the universe, as relentless as time, as fierce as the stars. Are you ready to love like that? Are you ready to be the woman who doesn't just stand by my side, but stands tall with your own fire, your own mission, your own obsession? Because if you are, then we're just getting started. The future is waiting, and it's ours to shape. You're still here, and that's no accident. You're not the kind of woman who runs when things get intense, who backs away when the stakes feel too high. You're listening because there's a part of you that's alive, restless, ready to face whatever comes next. And now, I want to talk about something most people avoid, something that's as real to me as the air I breathe: fear. Not the kind that paralyzes you, but the kind that points you toward your destiny. If you're going to be my partner, my equal, my co-conspirator in this relentless pursuit of the impossible, you need to understand fear not as an enemy, but as a compass. Because fear is what tells you you're on the right path. And I need you to know how to use it, how to carry it, how to make it your ally instead of your cage. Let's cut through the noise. Most people think fear is something to conquer, something to erase, something to run from. They spend their lives waiting for the day when fear disappears, when they'll feel ready, certain, unshakable. But here's the truth: that day never comes. Fear doesn't vanish. It's not a switch you flip off. It's a constant companion, a shadow that walks with you every step of the way. I've felt it every single time I've launched a rocket, every time I've bet everything on a dream, every time I've stared down a problem that seemed too big to solve. And I'm telling you now, the woman I want by my side isn't someone who's fearless. She's someone who knows how to move forward even when fear is screaming in her ear. Let me take you back to a moment that still haunts me. In 2008, Tesla was on the edge of a cliff. We were out of money, production was a disaster, and the world was betting against us. I was pouring every cent I had into keeping the company alive, sleeping on the factory floor, working 20-hour days, trying to fix problems that seemed to multiply faster than we could solve them. Every morning I'd wake up with this knot in my stomach, this voice in my head saying, "What if this is it? What if you lose everything?" That was fear, raw and unrelenting. It wasn't just about losing money or a company, it was about losing the vision, the dream of a world where electric cars weren't a joke, but a reality. It was about failing not just myself, but everyone who believed in me. I could have let that fear stop me. I could have walked away, taken the safe route, saved what little I had left. But I didn't, because I learned something a long time ago. Fear isn't a stop sign, it's a signal. It's your body telling you that what you're doing matters, that the stakes are high, that you're playing at the edge of what's possible. And that's exactly where I want to live, where the air is thin, where the ground feels unsteady, where every step could be the one that changes everything. I want you to live there too, not because it's comfortable, but because it's where you find out who you really are. I'm not saying it's easy. Fear can feel like a weight, like a hand pulling you back, whispering that you're not enough, that you're not ready, that you're going to fail. But here's what I've learned: that whisper is a liar. Fear doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're human. It means you're pushing against the boundaries of what's safe, what's known, what's expected. And that's where greatness lives. When I launched the first Starlink satellites, people said it was impossible to build a global internet from space. They said it was too expensive, too complex, too ambitious. I felt that fear, that tightness in my chest, knowing we were betting billions on a vision most people couldn't even comprehend. But I used it. I let it guide me, not stop me. Every time I felt that fear, I knew I was on the right track because the bigger the fear, the bigger the impact. I want you to feel that too. I want you to be the woman who hears fears whisper and says, "Good, this means I'm onto something." I want you to be the one who takes that knot in your stomach and turns it into fuel, who looks at a challenge that terrifies you and says, "This is why I'm here." Because that's what it's going to take to be with me, to to build with me, to change the world with me. We're not going to play small. We're not going to settle for a life that's safe or predictable. We're going to chase dreams so big they make people laugh, so audacious they make people doubt, so impossible they make people call us crazy. And when that fear hits, when the world tells pen, spinning is a natural part of it. I want us to face it together, not run from it. Maybe you're out there right now facing your own fears. Maybe you're working on something, a project, a dream, a vision that makes your heart race and your palms sweat. Maybe you're staring down a decision that feels like it could make or break you, wondering if you have what it takes. I know that feeling. I've been there, standing on the edge of a cliff, wondering if I was about to fall. And I'm telling you that fear is your compass. It's telling you that you're pushing the limits, that you're stepping into the unknown, that you're daring to do something extraordinary. Don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Use it. Let it guide you to the places you were meant to go. I don't want a partner who's afraid of fear. I want a woman who takes it, holds it, walks through it, because that's what it means to live a life that matters. It means feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It means knowing that every great thing you'll ever do will come with a moment where you have to decide, do I step forward or do I step back? I've made that choice 1,000 times, and every time I chose to step forward, it changed my life. It changed the world. And I want you to make that choice too, not just for me, not just for us, but for the woman you're destined to become. Imagine this: we're standing together years from now, looking at something we built, a company, a movement, a legacy. The world is different because we didn't let fear stop us. We felt it, we carried it, but we never let it take the wheel. That's the life I want for us. A life where fear is our guide, not our master. A life where we take the risks that scare us because we know they're the ones that matter. So tell me, are you ready to let fear be your compass? Are you ready to step into the unknown with me, to face the things that scare you most and come out stronger on the other side. Because I'm ready. I'm waiting for you not to save you, but to stand by you as we conquer those fears together. Let's make them our map to the stars. You're still here. And that tells me you're not just listening, you're in. You're not scared off by the chaos, the sacrifice, or the fear I've laid bare. You're the kind of woman who feels the pull of something bigger, something worth fighting for. And now, I want to talk about the one thing that will carry us through this wild, relentless journey together: discipline. Not the fleeting rush of motivation, not the spark of inspiration that fades when life gets hard, but the steady, unyielding fire of discipline. It's the engine that keeps us moving when everything else fails, the backbone of every dream we'll chase, the glue that will hold us together when the world tries to tear us apart. If you're going to be my partner, my equal, my co-creator in this life of impact, you need to understand discipline not as a burden, but as the key to freedom. This is for you, the woman who will stand by my side and build a legacy that echoes through time. Let's get one thing straight. Discipline isn't sexy. It's not the stuff of motivational posters or viral videos. It's not a burst of energy that makes you feel invincible. It's the quiet, gritty choice to show up day after day, even when you're exhausted, even when you're doubting yourself, even when the world is telling you to quit. It's the decision to keep going when every fiber of your being wants to stop. I've lived my life by discipline, not because I love it, but because it's the only way to turn dreams into reality. And I want you to live that way too, not just for me, not just for us, but for the woman you're meant to become. Let me take you back to a moment that taught me what discipline really means. In the early days of SpaceX, we were fighting against impossible odds. The first three rocket launches had failed, and we were down to our last shot. I was running on fumes financially, emotionally, physically. I'd been working 100-hour weeks, sleeping in the office, barely eating. There were days when I didn't want to get out of bed, when the thought of facing another problem felt like too much. But I did. Not because I was motivated, not because I felt inspired, but because I'd made a decision long before that moment. I was going to make humanity multiplanetary no matter what it took. That decision wasn't about feelings, it was about discipline. It was about showing up, doing the work, solving the problems, even when every part of me wanted to walk away. That fourth launch, the one that worked, wasn't built on hope or luck, it was built on discipline. That's what I want for us. I want us to be a team that doesn't rely on fleeting bursts of energy or waiting for the perfect mood. I want us to be disciplined, to make choices that keep us moving toward our shared vision, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. Because here's the truth: dreams don't come true because you feel like working on them. They come true because you decide once and for all that you're going to show up every single day, no matter what. That's the kind of love I want us to have. Not one that depends on passion or romance, but one that's rooted in the discipline to keep building, keep fighting, keep creating, even when the world feels like it's falling apart. You might be out there right now working on something that matters to you. Maybe it's a business, a creative project, a cause that sets your soul on fire. Maybe you've had days where you're full of energy, where everything feels possible, and days where you're dragging yourself through, wondering if you're wasting your time. I know those days, I've lived them. But here's what I've learned: discipline is what bridges the gap between those highs and lows. It's what keeps you moving when the excitement fades, when the doubters get loud, when the results aren't showing up yet. It's the choice to sit down and work even when you're tired, even when you're scared, even when you're not sure it's going to pay off. I want you to be the woman who makes that choice. I want you to be the one who decides once and for all what your mission is, what you're willing to fight for, what you're willing to bleed for, and then sticks to it no matter what. Because that's what it's going to take to be with me, to build with me, to change the world with me. We're not going to coast through life waiting for inspiration to strike. We're going to build systems, habits, routines that keep us moving forward even when the odds are against us, even when we're running on empty. Let me tell you about another moment, one that's less about rockets and more about the quiet grind of discipline. When I was working on the Boring Company, trying to figure out how to revolutionize transportation by digging tunnels under cities, it wasn't glamorous. It was endless calculations, meetings with engineers, arguments over permits, and nights spent staring at blueprints, trying to solve problems no one had solved before. There were moments when I wanted to throw it all out the window, when I wondered if I was wasting my time on something the world wasn't ready for. But I kept going not because I was inspired, but because I'd made a commitment to myself, to my team, to the vision. I decided that I was going to keep digging, figuratively and literally, until we found a way. That's discipline. The choice to keep moving, even when the path is unclear, even when the rewards are nowhere in sight. I want us to live like that. I want us to be a couple who doesn't negotiate with ourselves, who doesn't waste energy debating whether today's the day to show up. I want us to decide once and for all what we're building together, a company, a movement, a legacy, and then commit to it with every ounce of our being. That means saying no to distractions, no to excuses, no to the easy path. It means waking up every day and choosing the mission over comfort, choosing the work over rest, choosing the future over the present. It's not easy, but it's liberating because when you live with discipline, you're no longer a prisoner of your moods or your circumstances. You're free to create, to build, to become. I know this might sound intense, maybe even daunting, but I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to be relentless. I'm asking you to be the woman who looks at a challenge and says, I'm doing this no matter what. I'm asking you to be my partner in a life where we don't just dream, we do, where we don't just hope, we hustle, where we don't just love, we build, because that's what discipline is. It's the fire that never fades, the engine that keeps us going when everything else fails. So here's my challenge to you right now, wherever you are. What's the one thing you've been putting off, the one thing you know you need to do to move closer to your vision? Maybe it's starting that project, making that call, taking that risk you've been avoiding. Decide today that you're going to do it, and then don't negotiate with yourself. Don't wait for the perfect moment because it doesn't exist. Don't wait for motivation because it won't last. Decide, commit, act. That's the discipline that will carry you, that will carry us, that will make us unstoppable. I want you to imagine us years from now, looking back on a life we built together, not a life of fleeting moments or shallow victories, but a life of hard won triumphs, of dreams we dragged into reality through sheer will and discipline. I want us to be the kind of couple who doesn't just talk about what could be, but makes it happen. I want you to be the woman who stands by my side, not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. Because, deep down, that a life of discipline is a life of freedom, a life where we're not bound by fear, doubt, or distraction, but driven by a purpose so big it changes everything. Are you ready to live that way? Are you ready to choose discipline over comfort, action over hesitation, purpose over ease? Because I am. I'm waiting for you not to follow me, but to build with me, to fight with me, to create with me. Let's make discipline our fire, our foundation, our freedom. Let's make it the thing that binds us, that drives us, that carries us to a future the world will never forget. You're still here, and that means you're not just listening, you're leaning in. You're not fazed by the talk of chaos, fear, or the relentless grind of discipline. You're the kind of woman who hears the call of something bigger and doesn't back down. Now, I want to get real with you about what it takes to build something that lasts, something that doesn't just define our lives, but redefines the world. I'm talking about sacrifice, not the kind that leaves you empty, but the kind that carves out space for a legacy. If you're going to be my partner, my equal, my ally in this mission to change the course of history, you need to know the cost. Because building a legacy isn't about what you gain, it's about what you're willing to give up. This is for you, the woman who will stand by my side and pay the price for a life that matters. Let's not sugarcoat it. Sacrifice is the currency of greatness. It's the price you pay to turn dreams into reality, to transform a spark of an idea into something that outlives you. I've paid that price over and over again, and I need you to understand what it looks like. It's not just about giving up time or money, it's about letting go of the things most people cling to: comfort, security, the approval of others. It's about choosing the mission over the easy path, choosing the future over the present, choosing the legacy over the life everyone else expects you to live. And I want us to pay that price together, not because it's noble, but because it's the only way to build something that will echo through generations. Let me take you back to a moment that shaped me, one that taught me what sacrifice really means. When I was building SpaceX, I didn't just risk my money, I risked everything. I'd sold my first companies, made millions, and could have lived a comfortable life. But I poured every cent I had into rockets, knowing there was a 90% chance it would all go up in flames. I wasn't just betting my bank account, I was betting my reputation, my relationships, my sanity. There were nights when I barely saw my family, when I missed birthdays, when I was so consumed by the mission that everything else faded into the background. People called me selfish, said I was throwing my life away, said I was neglecting the things that really mattered. But here's what they didn't understand: the mission was what mattered. Making humanity a multiplanetary species wasn't just a dream, it was a responsibility. And I was willing to sacrifice everything to make it real. That's what I mean by sacrifice. It's not about giving up things you don't care about, it's about giving up things you love, things you cherish because you believe in something bigger. It's about saying no to the easy nights, the safe choices, the comfortable routines, because you know they'll keep you from the life you're meant to live. And I want you to be that kind of woman, the one who's willing to let go of what's easy to grab hold of what's eternal. I want you to be the one who looks at the cost and says, it's worth it, because you know that a legacy isn't built on half measures or compromises. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Sacrifice hurts. It's nights spent working instead of resting, moments of missing out on the things everyone else takes for granted. It's the friendships that fade because you're too busy chasing your vision, the invitations you turn down because the mission comes first, the quiet moments of doubt when you wonder if you're giving up too much. But here's the truth: the pain of sacrifice is temporary, the pain of regret is forever. I'd rather give up everything now, comfort, ease, approval, than wake up one day knowing I could have done more, been more, built more. And I want you to feel that way too, not just for me, not just for us, but for the woman you're destined to become. Imagine this: you're out there right now working on something that sets your soul on fire. Maybe it's a business that could change an industry, a creative project that could shift how people think, a cause that could lift up lives. Whatever it is, you're pouring your heart into it and you're starting to feel the cost. Maybe you're missing out on time with friends, or you're saying no to opportunities that feel safe but small. Maybe you're wondering if it's worth it, if you're crazy for thinking you can make a difference. I know that feeling. I've lived it, and I'm here to tell you, keep going. The things you're giving up now, the parties, the lazy days, the approval of people who don't get it, they're nothing compared to what you're building. They're nothing compared to the legacy you'll leave behind. I want us to be a team that embraces sacrifice, not because we love pain, but because we love what it creates. I want us to be the kind of couple who looks at the cost and says, bring it on, because we know that every sacrifice we make is a brick in the foundation of something greater. Maybe it's a company that changes lives, a movement that reshapes society, a vision that pushes humanity forward. Whatever it is, it's going to take everything we've got, every ounce of energy, every moment of focus, every shred of courage, but it's going to be worth it, because we're not just building a life together, we're building a legacy. Let me tell you about another kind of sacrifice, one that's less about money and more about the heart. When I was pushing Neuralink forward, trying to figure out how to merge human brains with machines, I wasn't just sacrificing time or resources, I was sacrificing the chance to be understood. People called it insane, said it was science fiction, said I was chasing a fantasy. I lost connections with people who couldn't see what I saw, who thought I was wasting my life on something too far-fetched. But I kept going because I knew that if we could crack this, we could change what it means to be human. That's the kind of sacrifice I'm talking about, not just giving up things, but giving up the need for approval, the need to fit in, the need to be seen as normal. And I want you to be ready for that too. I want you to be the woman who's willing to be misunderstood, to be doubted, to be called crazy because you believe in something bigger than the opinions of others. This is what I want for us: a life where we sacrifice the small stuff for the big stuff, where we let go of what's temporary to grab hold of what's eternal. I want us to be the kind of couple who doesn't flinch at the cost, who doesn't back down when the world says it's too much. I want us to stand together, knowing that every sacrifice we make is a step towards something that will outlive us, something that will change the world. And I promise you this: I'll be right there with you, giving up just as much, fighting just as hard, sacrificing just as deeply. Because that's what partners do. They don't just share the wins, they share the costs. So here's my challenge to you right now, wherever you are. What are you willing to give up for your dream? What are you ready to let go of to build something that matters? Maybe it's the comfort of a predictable life, the approval of people who don't understand, the safety of staying small. Whatever it is, decide today that you're willing to pay that price. Decide that you're ready to sacrifice the easy for the extraordinary, the temporary for the eternal, because that's what it's going to take to be with me, to build with me, to leave a legacy with me. I want you to imagine us years from now looking back on a life we built together, not a life of comfort or ease, but a life of sacrifice that created something unstoppable, a company, a movement, a mark on the universe. I want us to be the kind of couple who knows that every sacrifice was worth it, because we didn't just live, we changed the game. Are you ready to pay that price? Are you ready to give up what's easy to build, what's eternal? Because I'm waiting for you not to follow me, but to stand by my side, to sacrifice with me, to create with me. Let's pay the cost together and build a legacy that the world will never forget. You're still here, and that's not a small thing. You've heard me talk about chaos, fear, discipline, and sacrifice, and you haven't flinched. That tells me you're not just any woman. You're the one who feels the pull of something extraordinary, who's ready to step into a life that's bigger than the ordinary. Now, I want to talk about what love means in the kind of life we're going to build together. Not the soft, easy love of fairy tales or rom-coms, but a love that's forged in the hottest flames, a love that's tested by the world's toughest challenges, a love that doesn't just survive but grows stronger in the fire. If you're going to be my partner, my equal, my ally in this relentless pursuit of the impossible, you need to know that our love will be a battlefield, a crucible, a bond that holds us together when everything else tries to pull us apart. This is for you, the woman who will walk through fire with me and come out shining. Let's be clear, love, the way I see it, isn't about perfect moments or effortless harmony. It's not about never arguing or always agreeing. It's about two people who are willing to face the hardest things together: failure, doubt, exhaustion, ridicule, and keep going anyway. It's about standing side by side in the middle of a storm, knowing the world is against you, and saying, we've got this. I don't want a love that's fragile, that crumbles when life gets tough. I want a love that's unbreakable, that's built on the kind of trust and commitment that can withstand anything. And that kind of love, it's not found in comfort, it's forged in fire. Let me take you back to a moment that showed me what this kind of love looks like. When I was fighting to keep Tesla alive, back when we were one bad day away from bankruptcy, I wasn't just carrying the weight of the company, I was carrying the weight of everyone who believed in me. My team, my investors, the people who'd bet their futures on my vision. There were nights when I'd sit in the factory, surrounded by half-built cars, with the weight of it all pressing down on me. I wasn't alone in those moments, not because I had someone holding my hand, but because I had people who believed in the mission as much as I did, who were willing to work through the night, to fight through the setbacks, to keep going even when it felt impossible. That's what love is to me, not just a feeling, but a shared commitment to something bigger, a willingness to walk through the fire together. I want that with you. I want a love that's not afraid of the hard days, the long nights, the moments when we're both pushed to our limits. I want a love that's as fierce as the challenges we'll face, as relentless as the dreams we'll chase. Because make no mistake, our life together won't be easy. There'll be days when we're both exhausted, when we're arguing over some impossible problem at 2 a.m., when we're wondering if we've taken on too much. There'll be moments when the world laughs at us, when they call us crazy for believing in our vision, when they say we'll never make it. But in those moments, I want us to look at each other and know that we're in this together, that we're not just fighting for ourselves, but for each other, for the future we're building, for the legacy we'll leave behind. This kind of love isn't for everyone. Most people want a love that's safe, predictable, comfortable. They want a partner who fits neatly into their life, who doesn't challenge them or push them or ask them to be more than they are. But I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for a woman who's ready to be challenged, who's ready to push me just as hard as I push her, who's ready to walk through the fire and come out stronger. I want you to be the one who stands by my side when the world says we're doomed, who doesn't flinch when the stakes are high, who doesn't back down when the odds are against us, because that's what it's going to take to build the kind of life I'm talking about, a life of impact, of meaning, of legacy. Let me tell you about another moment, one that's less about companies and more about the heart of what love means to me. When I was working on Starlink, trying to bring internet to every corner of the globe, I faced a different kind of fire. It wasn't just about engineering or money, it was about belief. The world didn't believe in it, investors thought it was too risky, critics said it was impossible, even some of my closest advisors questioned whether it was worth the fight. But I had this vision of a world where no one was left disconnected, where knowledge and opportunity could reach every person no matter where they were. And in those moments of doubt, when I felt the weight of that disbelief, I needed people around me who didn't just support me, they believed in me, in the vision, in the fight. That's what I want from you, not just love, but belief. Belief in me, in yourself, and what we can do together. I want you to be the woman who believes in the impossible, who sees the same future I see, who's willing to fight for it even when it feels like we're alone. Because we won't always have the world cheering us on. There'll be times when it's just us standing against the tide, holding on to a vision no one else can see. And in those moments, our love will be our strength, not a soft, sentimental thing, but a fierce, unyielding force that keeps us moving forward. I want us to be the kind of couple who doesn't just weather the storm but dances in it, who doesn't just survive the fire but uses it to forge something unbreakable. Maybe you're out there right now facing your own fire. Maybe you're working on something that the world doesn't understand yet. a dream, a project, a cause that makes your heart race and your hands shake. Maybe you're feeling the heat of doubt, of criticism, of the pressure to give up and choose the easy path. I know that fire. I've walked through it, and I'm here to tell you, don't back down. Don't let the world's noise drown out your vision. Keep going, because that fire is where you'll find yourself, where you'll find the strength you didn't know you had, where you'll find the kind of love that can carry you through anything. I want us to be a team that thrives in the fire, that doesn't shy away from the heat but runs toward it. I want us to be the kind of couple who knows that love isn't about avoiding the hard stuff, it's about facing it together. It's about standing in the middle of the chaos, looking at each other and saying, we're not done yet. It's about knowing that every scar we earn, every battle we fight, every moment we push through makes our love stronger, makes our legacy bigger, makes our lives matter. So here's my challenge to you. Wherever you are, think about the fire you're facing right now, the challenge, the dream, the thing that scares you most. Don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Walk into it, head held high, and know that you're not alone. I'm looking for you, the woman who's ready to walk through that fire with me, who's ready to build a love that's not just a feeling, but a force, a partnership that can withstand anything. Because that's what we're going to do together. We're going to walk through the fire hand in hand and come out on the other side with a love that's stronger than steel, a legacy that's brighter than the stars. Are you ready to love like that? Are you ready to face the fire with me? To fight for a vision that's bigger than both of us? To build a love that's not just beautiful but unstoppable? Because I'm waiting for you not to save you, but to stand by you, to fight with you, to love you through every flame. Let's walk through the fire together and show the world what we're made of. You've made it this far, and that's no small feat. You've heard me lay it all out, the chaos, the fear, the discipline, the sacrifice, the love that burns through fire. You're still here, which means you're not just listening, you're ready to answer a call. Not a call to follow, not a call to stand in my shadow, but a call to be the woman who makes history, who stands by my side as an equal, who builds a legacy that shakes the foundations of the world. This is the final piece, the moment where I ask you to step up, to claim your place, to become the force you are always meant to be. This is for you, the woman who will be my partner, my ally, my co creator in a life that doesn't just exist but rewrites what's possible. Let's talk about what it means to be the woman who makes history. I'm not here to offer you a life of ease or a script that's already written. I'm here to offer you a blank page, a chance to write a story that the world will never forget. But that story doesn't start tomorrow or next week or when you feel ready. It starts now, in this moment, with the decision to stop waiting and start acting. The world doesn't reward hesitation. It doesn't remember the people who played it safe, who waited for permission, who let opportunities slip through their fingers. It remembers the ones who seized the moment, who dared to dream bigger than anyone thought possible, who acted when everyone else stood still. That's who I want you to be, the woman who doesn't just dream of making history but does it. Let me tell you about a moment that showed me what it means to make history. When we launched the first crewed mission to the International Space Station with SpaceX, it wasn't just a rocket going into orbit, it was a turning point. For decades, only governments had sent humans to space. People said a private company could never do it, that it was too complex, too dangerous, too expensive, but we did it. I remember standing in the control room, watching the Dragon capsule dock with the station, knowing that we'd just changed the game. That moment wasn't built on luck or talent, it was built on years of relentless action, of refusing to listen to the naysayers, of taking risks that made everyone else flinch. It was about deciding to act, to build, to make history instead of waiting for it to happen. That's what I want for us. I want us to be a team that doesn't just live in history, but shapes it. I want us to be the kind of couple who looks at the impossible and says, watch us. Maybe it's not about space or rockets for you. Maybe your history is a company that transforms an industry, a movement that changes lives, a creation that inspires generations. Whatever it is, I want you to be the woman who doesn't wait for the world to give her a stage, she builds one. I want you to be the one who takes the first step, even when it's terrifying, even when it's messy, even when you're not sure where it will lead. You might be out there right now, standing at a crossroads. Maybe you've got a dream burning inside you, something you've been afraid to pursue because it feels too big, too risky, too far out of reach. Maybe you're surrounded by people telling you to play it safe, to stick to what's practical, to settle for what's good enough. I know that pressure. I've felt it. When I started Neuralink, people said it was madness connecting human brains to machines. They laughed, called it a sci-fi fantasy, said I was wasting my time, but I didn't listen. I acted. I took the first step, then the next, then the next, because I knew that history isn't made by the people who wait, it's made by the people who move. I want you to move. I want you to be the woman who doesn't let doubt or fear or the opinions of others hold her back. I want you to be the one who says, "This is my moment, and I'm taking it." Because here's the truth: the world is waiting for you to decide. It's waiting for you to step up, to claim your power, to show what you're capable of. And I want to be the man standing by your side, cheering you on, pushing you forward, believing in you when no one else does. I want us to be a team that makes history together, not by playing small, not by staying safe, but by daring to do what others won't. This isn't about perfection. It's not about having all the answers or knowing exactly how it's going to turn out. It's about action. It's about deciding right now that you're going to be the woman who makes things happen because the clock is ticking. Every second you spend waiting is a second you'll never get back. Every moment you hesitate is a moment someone else is out there building, creating, making history while you're still planning. Don't let that be your story. Don't let your life be a series of what ifs or some days. Let it be a story of bold choices, of relentless action, of a woman who didn't just dream but did. I want us to be a couple who doesn't just talk about the future but builds it. I want us to be the kind of team that looks back and knows we didn't waste a single moment, that we gave everything to make our mark. Maybe it's a company that changes lives, a vision that reshapes the world, a legacy that inspires generations. Whatever it is, it starts with you deciding to act, to be the woman who doesn't wait for permission, who doesn't wait for certainty, who doesn't wait for the stars to align. The stars don't align, you align them. So, here's my final challenge to you. Wherever you are, before this day ends, take one step toward the thing you've been holding back on. Make that call, write that plan, start that project. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be yours. Because once you take that first step, the second gets easier, and the third, and the fourth. Before you know it, you're not just moving, you're unstoppable. And that's the woman I'm looking for, the one who doesn't just hear this call but answers it, who doesn't just dream of making history but does it. I want you to imagine us years from now standing together, looking at the world we've changed. Maybe it's a rocket touching the stars, a technology that transforms lives, a movement that shifts the course of history. Whatever it is, we'll know we did it together, not because we were perfect, not because we were fearless, but because we acted, because we dared, because we refused to let the world write our story for us. That's the love I want, the life I want, the legacy I want. A love that's not just a feeling, but a force. A life that's not just lived, but shaped. A legacy that's not just remembered, but revered. Are you ready to be that woman? Are you ready to step into your power, to take your place, to make history with me? Because I'm ready. I'm waiting for you not to follow me, not to stand behind me, but to stand beside me, to build with me, to change the world with me. Let's make history together. Let's show the world what we're capable of. The future is ours. Let's go take it.